On this episode of Upcoming Attractions, we got trailers for Moon Knight, Studio 666, Jackass Forever, and Joe and Carol. Plus, our film discussions for Scream, Copshop and Spencer. Plus, TV talks about Book of Boba Fett, Peacemaker, and more. All this on Upcoming Attractions. Welcome back to another episode of Upcoming Attractions. As always, I'm your host, Matt Vella. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at VellaMatt. I just gotta get my little plugs out there. And as always, I'm here with my co-hosts. Today, fresh off the spicy cough, Jesse Highland. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. Yes, I have had the spicy cough, guys. I would not recommend getting it. Well, I haven't gotten it too bad. I've recovered from it pretty quickly, but yeah, would not recommend. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And also with us, as always, your friend and mine. I gotta cut a new intro for that. But yeah, Adrian Amita, how you doing?
I'm good. No spicy cough here. But
Yeah.
I'm very good. Very happy.
I'm starting to feel left out. I feel like all my friends have had it, and
Except
that's okay.
for us. So
That's
we'll
okay.
see.
We'll live. Hopefully. Look, let's, as always, guys, if you are enjoying the podcast, please consider giving us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you listen to us on audio, you've got Spotify, you've got iTunes, the works. Be sure to follow us on social media, especially TikTok and Instagram at Upcoming Attractions. And if you want to watch the show, be sure to check us out on YouTube. We've got both clips and the full episodes there, and you can see all our beautiful faces. Yes, but you're not here to hear about that. No, we're here to talk about movies and television. So let's get into our first topic for today. It's just me who's seen this one, but it's Star Wars, the new Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett.
Tell
so
us
I guess I'll just
all
give my
about
thoughts.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Book of Boba Fett. Oh, it's so disappointing. I think honestly...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is probably... Since Disney Plus launched, we've had some amazing Star Wars and Marvel shows, and this might be the first miss. Like, and here's the thing, they're not doing anything wrong. It just feels like the Mandalorian with, like, its arm tied behind its back, because it takes place entirely in Tatooine, and you got a lot of great callbacks to Return of the Jedi and a little bit of Attack of the Clones and stuff. But I feel like the biggest problem with the Book of Boba Fett is they forgot about everything that makes Boba Fett cool, and they butchered him a little bit. So when you think of Boba Fett, what do you think? You think a guy with a helmet, he's mysterious, he doesn't talk much, he's a brutal bounty hunter who'll kill for money. Not in this show. He almost never wears the helmet. He talks, he carries the whole show on his shoulders, because there's basically no supporting character. There's like 2 supporting characters. So it's all this one actor who's got to carry all the weight. You know, with Star Wars, it's often exciting because they got all these different locations. It's all in Tatooine. It really just feels like they ran out of ideas with this one. Like they tried to make Boba Fett like an anti-hero, but like they could have just done the Punisher. But no, instead he's now owns Jabba's palace. He's like killed the people who took over that. And he's negotiating with the Hutts, and the first 4 episodes so far have all been about how he survived the Sarlacc pit, and he grew up, and so he spent a few years living with the Sand People, and it's just all this shit that I do not care about. Give me the helmet.
Sucks.
Get him shooting people for no reason.
What was what was the explanation of how he survived the Sarlacc pit, or the pit of Carcoon?
So he survived the Sarlacc pit by 1, his armor really protected the acids from disintegrating, and then 2, he just fought his way out. He had like some fire, he had some like I think he had some like weapons, and he just crawled his way out. There are a whole bunch of dead stormtroopers in there, but like Boba's got so many weapons. Like you sort of see him start to get out, and they sort of cut ahead, and you see his like hand come out of the sand. But yeah, after that, what you find is like he's really injured, and he spends 4 episodes worth of flashbacks, living with the Sand People, learning their language and teaching. They'd start teaching them their ways, and Apparently it changes his personality, so he doesn't want to be a leader that's feared. He wants to be a leader that's respected. So he's like, instead of going around shooting questions, shoot first, ask questions later, he's always like negotiating with people, and it just doesn't feel like Boba Fett, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you think of Boba Fett, you think of this ruthless mercenary who doesn't talk much, but now he does
mysterious.
all the talking. Yeah, mysterious. He's not mysterious. He never wears the helmet. He's always showing compassion and mercy. And it's like everything this show could have been, it's the opposite. Like, we expected this to be Star Wars' chance, show us the gritty underworld. It could have been the most mature Star Wars yet. But instead, it just feels like a less interesting version of The Mandalorian. Like, I've already got this show from The Mandalorian, he almost never takes his helmet off. With this one, he never puts his helmet on. You know? So...
It's probably the opposite, shouldn't it? Or...
Yeah! You'd think so,
Yeah.
but no. Like they.
How long is it?
Sorry?
How long is the series? It's like 6 episodes? Or...
I think it's about 6. I'm not sure, but we're I think 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
And it's looking like it might get better because at the point of recording this, they've sort of done all the flashbacks. They've caught up to current times. It was sort of like doing like a Lost thing where they go back and forth between, you know, memories and now and all that crap. But, oh boy, I'm finding myself really bored sometimes. I'm watching it and I'm bored out of my mind. And I can't believe I'm bored watching a Star Wars show in 2022.
Do you have any positives to take out of it? Anything that you liked?
Like, nothing new that The Mandalorian's not already doing.
Okay.
The special effects are great. The sets are amazing. They're using a lot of puppets, which is a nice, refreshing change from the prequels. But I think the actor, I forget his name, who plays...
Tamura Morrison.
Yeah, him. He's not strong enough as an actor to lead a show. And I feel like he's also acting with one arm tied behind his back because he's got to do the cool voice all the time. So he doesn't really emote much.
He was Jango Fett.
Yeah.
He was playing Boba and... Yeah. There's a complaint I heard. There's a YouTube channel I really love. It's probably my favorite YouTube channel called Red Letter Media. When they looked at this show, they said the weird thing is that when Boba Fett's in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he's kind of like this. Return of the Jedi and all the original trilogy. Oh. He's kind of more skinny and more tall and skinny. Oh, yeah. Whereas in the new show, Tamura Morrison's more shorter and very bulky, like overweight. They say it's a complete different figure to how he is in the original trilogy.
I actually thought that watching The Mandalorian, because like he's wearing the outfit and it's not fitting him the same. Like it's clearly played by a much older actor. You know, there's a scene where he's shirtless in Boba Fett and he's in good shape for his age. Like he's in decent shape, but it's clearly a different person that was in, you know, Return of the Jedi. Things like that I'm willing to let slide. But again, this is the problem when you do retcons and stuff. Like they went back and they changed his voice in special editions and...
Well, they were recommending you do the kid from episode 2, the Boba Fett in episode 2 grown up.
I think the idea is Boba is a clone of Jango. So having the same actor who played Jango play him, it makes sense. The face looks the same and stuff.
But like you do all the scenes with him having the helmet on, because you'd probably be skinnier, and then have the Tamura Morrison's voice or something like that, or do something along those lines. Or
well, that would be easy, but he hardly ever wears the outfit. Like it just makes no sense. Like if you're making a show on anything, if you're making a show based on any franchise, I think the first thing you should think to yourself is, okay, what are the things people want to see? And they did this in Matrix Resurrections. They actually list out what do people want to see? Bullet time, sunglasses. But like when you think, if you're saying let's make a Boba Fett show, go, okay, well we've got to have the cool costume. He's got to be mysterious. He's got to be ruthless. We see everything. Like we see the Rancor. That's back. That's a whole plot point of he has to get the Rancor. We see Jabba's palace. We see everything that we know about him to do with. We even get a flashback to Kamino where he's a kid. And they use some like footage from episode 2. But it's like they've put him on this character arc, which really doesn't suit what you want out of the character. Like, if you're watching, I don't know, it's what I don't like about like the Zack Snyder Justice League stuff. When I see Superman, I want to see truth, justice, being positive. But in the Zack Snyder movies, he's like a fucking emo kid who's just like, oh, we should be scared of Superman. What if he rips the roof off the White House? It's like, no, he represents hope. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, man, that's my thoughts of Book of Boba Fett. I didn't mean to go on for that long. If you're going to watch something Star Wars, watch The Mandalorian. It is so much more fun. It is so much better. Anyways, our next TV talk topic for today. Jesse, you've seen all of Mayor of Kingstown. You mentioned this a few episodes ago. It's completed now. What do you think of Mayor of Kingstown? Starring Jeremy Renner.
Yes, yeah. So we talked about it briefly a few episodes ago. It was the episode that was cut. And I said I was going to review it, but we didn't end up. So, I finished it. It's probably one of the best shows I've seen in quite a while. It kind of gave me a bit of True Detective, bit of Ray Donovan, a couple of different things. Very, very gritty, dark crime thriller type of series set in a town in America where the prison in the town is kind of the basic thing that's propping up the town economically and for jobs and all that kind of thing. It's basically a prison town, and it's filled with criminals and cops and stuff like that. And there's a lot of violence and guns. And Jeremy Renner is kind of like a power broker fixer type who kind of works with the criminals in like a legal way, but also in a legal and in an illegal way. That took me a while to get to. And he used to be a criminal himself, and it was a great series. I loved it. The episode 9 and the last 2 episodes of the season were just fucking insane. I won't spoil it in case people want to watch it, but basically the prison goes right, but it's taken to like 11 basically, and it's just insane, absolutely insane, and I loved it. And obviously it's going to be set up for a second season, and very gritty, very action packed. You just had no idea what was going on. You just was just like stuck to your seat. And Jeremy Renner was fantastic in it, and I know Matt's got his problems with Jeremy Renner, but I
don't have a vendetta against him or anything.
But I know he can do these types of roles because, he's, the town, the Hurt Locker, Wind River. He's good in these very gritty, great type of characters. Kind of a bit removed from when he does Hawkeye and stuff like that, those flashy kind of movies he does. So, I thought it was fantastic, and I'd highly recommend people, if you're into that kind of crime thriller, on the edge of your seat kind of series, definitely watch it. It's a fantastically well-made show. So, yeah.
Awesome. You really love Jeremy, don't you? You're a big Jeremy fan.
I do really like him, but I think it's also because some of the projects he chooses, he chooses. Before he did Hawkeye, he chose a lot of he did a lot more grittier, kind of more realistic kind of films, and that's kind of what I tend to go for. I don't usually watch a lot of the big flashy Hollywood blockbuster movies. I love the gritty kind of indie or crime kind of stuff, and he's kind of doing that before he got into like Hawkeye and all those other flashy type movies. And because I've watched a lot of stuff with him in it,
that's what you associate him with first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You also said, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've noticed you like a lot of films about like small towns and ranches.
I do.
I guess you're from the Blue Mountains, which, it's not exactly the outback, but
no.
Maybe in your DNA somewhere there's some sort of relatability there.
I don't know what it is, but I just find it. I just find all that stuff fascinating. I guess
nothing wrong with it, bro.
I find TV shows and movies set in isolated locations where there's like a danger going on or something threatening is happening, or I find that I get really into that kind of stuff. Small town type stuff. I mean, this isn't like, it's a small town, but it's in the middle of America, I guess. So there's a lot going on. But yeah, I just love that kind of gritty crime thriller kind of stuff, and that's what I like it when he does that, chooses to do those sorts of things instead of the superhero stuff. No offense, Matt.
No, it's fine. Honestly, like, it's an anomaly anomaly in his career. Like, compared to everything else, very, very different.
Oh, he'd be like, just give me my paycheck, please, when he's... but there will be another series on it, obviously, and all the performances were really, really good. So I'd highly recommend people check it out. It's on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus delivered on this show, not so much on Dexter at the end, but on this show they definitely did deliver.
Awesome.
So,
all right, well, let's move on. Let's keep it moving. Euphoria, season 2 just came out. A lot of people are going crazy about it. I've tried to catch up. I'm like, I think 6 episodes into season 1. So not too many spoilers, please. But Adrienne, what do you reckon of Euphoria so far?
I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this was a show I had waited until I had the perfect time to sit and really take it in, and I'm so glad that I did. It absolutely lives up to the hype, and it continues to do so. It's like, I would describe it as, I don't know, Skins times 50. I don't know if you ever watched that back in the day, but I love how intricately layered it is and how deeply sophisticated the exploration is into that, you know, post 9/11 group of teenagers, and everything that they're experiencing. I feel like sometimes I wouldn't say shocked, but I'm maybe in between, like, shocked and really impressed at how far they take it. I feel like it's really needed. And I feel like no matter what sort of like area you came from or like how your teenage years were, you at the heart of it can absolutely relate to the fact that there's like a fundamental truth behind adolescence being somewhere between like a horrible and cruel experience, but also really sweet and innocent.
Adrienne, I'll take it a step further.
Okay.
Euphoria is without a doubt the most fucked up show I've ever seen. There's been times I'm watching it with my girlfriend and I'm like, I feel sick to my stomach. I'm like, babe, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'll watch the most violent, like, murdery shows. I'll watch shows about, like, gangbangers and drug dealers. But I watch this show and I'm like, they're playing 17-year-olds and they're doing that.
Yeah, like, and well, the scary thing is it's happening. Like, this stuff is all happening to people.
Look, it is realistic, right? Like, my childhood wasn't the prettiest one, but, like, I'm not used to seeing this bleak, depressing. Every time I think something nice, a happy moment might come, something happens the next scene. And, like, okay, Jesse, just to give you an idea, I'm like, I think maybe 7 episodes into Euphoria, and so far, some girls fuck someone's dad. The main character is in rehab. She's like an underage drug addict, and it's so believable. She's so desperate for drugs. There's a girl who's resorted to doing like webcam, like online porn, because she was fat shamed, and this is the way that she's dealing with that trauma. Has there been a rape? I'm not sure.
Yeah, pedophilia, rape, literally everything. Blackmail.
Every bad thing that could happen. Oh, the blackmail is so fucked up. But I don't know how realistic. Like, I don't know, when I was a kid, like how, I don't know if 17-year-olds are smart enough. No, that guy's like 20 though, I think. But I don't know if people that young are that smart enough for those schemes, but holy shit.
I know some of that kind of stuff that's happened to people I know when I was going to school. So
definitely.
There's a lot of it is relatable, right? But I'm not used to seeing it portrayed this way on television, and it's shocking.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point, and it's really needed. Obviously, no one is gonna, or hopefully, go to school and know every single one of these stories firsthand, because my God, that would just be overwhelming. But I think it's really needed and important in a time where we have everything in front of our faces 24/7. So why don't we just delve into there and like really take a look at it for what it is and how fucked up it is. I think it's absolutely amazing. I remember back in the day, Skins was really brutal, but this is next level. Nothing is off limits visually.
I watch it horrified. Like, it's like a horror movie to me. It is I
I
can't
think that's
believe.
the
Like,
point,
I'm
yeah.
so grateful when I was like, I'm going to show my age here, but I'm so grateful when I was in high school. Social media wasn't at the level it is now because
Yeah.
oh
Matt,
boy,
Matt,
I'm
you
just
you you're from Blacktown. Like you honestly, you would come on. You would have some stories from.
I
back in the
do,
day
I
from
do, no,
Blacktown.
and I relate to a lot of them, but I'm not used to seeing it represented on TV. But
Yeah.
also, when I was in high school, like something bad happens, that school knows, and then if someone asked me, I was going, "No, that didn't happen."
Yeah.
But like in this, it's like the next day, it's like, "Oh, you had sex." Like when I was in high school, you had sex with someone. Oh wow, oh I can't believe. You had sex with ugly person. This one, oh everybody's seen you fuck this person. It's all over the internet. Now.
I think it's really
Right.
important though. Like people are probably not aware that like our memories before that, this new generation of teenagers, this shit is actually normal and happening all the time, and it's so important to be aware of just how fucked up that is and the trauma that teens are facing today. And it's
Yeah.
always just like, oh, you just have no idea. And I think it's maybe this show has helped people actually recognize a trauma, or maybe get some sort of confidence knowing they're not alone in seeing it happen.
Well, I'm actually surprised because I don't know if you've seen this, but on TikTok, I've seen multiple people do like sketches and make fun of Euphoria for
Okay.
how edgy everyone is. Like
Yeah,
they'll show you like
they
in
are
real
very-
life. They'll be like in real life, "Hey, how are you today?" And like in Euphoria, "Hey, you fucking bitch, want to go do some drugs with your dad?" Like and it's like they're not far from the truth, but also in real life, like. You know, like I knew people like that growing up. I guess I was one of those too. Like, I do remember, like I was really sheltered by my parents growing up.
Yeah.
And when I finally ended up eventually moving high schools from a private Catholic school to a really rough public school, like the shit I saw horrified the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, like we're allowed to do this at 16? Like.
I saw fucked up shit at the Catholic school and the Anglican school I went to, and I actually had two friends who they were just as dramatic as the people in Euphoria. They got into really hard drugs, and one of them nearly eloped at 15. And I remember like finding out about this plan, and I had to actually call her parents to make it not happen. Yeah, it like this shit
By
does happen.
season 2, have they tackled teen pregnancy yet? By season 2, so I don't think I have seen that so far.
There have been a few spoilers about it online if you follow any of
okay.
the actors' Instagrams, but I'll just say yes. I also just really want to quickly say I'm fucking blown away by the acting. Half of it I'm like genuinely invested in the writing, the characters, and the cinematography. Oh my god. But the acting, holy shit. Jacob Elordi is an asshole. And I want him to die in this show as much as I wanted Cersei to die in Game of Thrones. That is how good he is.
He's good at playing an asshole.
Oh my god. Like,
I hate him so much.
he's unreal.
I know you're supposed to hate him, but it's like he's evil to the... I just saw that like scam he did with the police.
Yeah.
Where he blackmailed all those people to like get himself out of trouble. And I'm like, oh, you're the worst kind of... You're literally... I didn't know people could get that evil. That's... Okay, Cruella de Vil.
I know. Fuck. You'll see at the end of season 1, they sort of give a really... I mean, like, you know that it's parental trauma has made him the way he is. Yeah. But, I mean, to what extent can you let that absolutely ruin your life and everyone else's around you? So he's got to have some madly intense reign of justice come upon him at some point because he needs to learn a fucking lesson. But
every time I think, like, okay, knowing how TV writers are, he's done all this shit. Now it's going to bite him back. No, he just does more fucked up
I know.
shit.
And this is the other thing. Like, maybe that is how it happens because some people seriously do just live their whole lives without any repercussions. But
I will say, like, oh, God.
But is the trauma the repercussion? Like,
but
you know?
generally with TV shows, like, you kind of know how an arc will go. But it's like, you go, okay, you bring us down a low point, so a high point sees higher. But the high points never come. Like, any level of happiness these people go through, it's
immediately
so
the rug
fleeting.
is pulled. Yeah.
I will say some other actors that I find amazing. Like, I used to not understand the hype about Zendaya, and now I see this show, it's like, wow, she is incredible.
I think
she is
Euphoria
so
was
believable.
actually what kickstarted the genuine hype around her, more like beyond her looks and everything.
I know she
she's
was
amazing.
like headhunted for the main role, and there's like weird controversy about an article that came out recently because she's the only actor that in a contract it says that she won't show nudity. But it's
Yeah.
like the show is made as a vehicle for her. Like, she has all the say in the world. She's also Zendaya. Like, she's one of the most followed people on Instagram, I think. She has a lot of power. Like, but just go back to it. Zendaya's performance is incredible. Like, when she is desperate, like, to get high, like, I believe her.
Yeah.
I know with Spider-Man, she sort of played this character that's kind of like a bit apathetic with life.
Yeah.
But she also, especially in No Way Home, like, she played this like quirky element, which I really like to see from her. But in this, it's like, I just really get it. It's like, I know people like you, man. Like, her performance is just so authentic.
It is.
And it's crazy to think it's from a young like a young pop star. Like, she was
Yeah.
a singer doing all sorts of, what was she on, like
she was
Disney Channel or
Disney.
some
Like,
shit?
yeah, she was a Disney star.
Yeah, I just can't believe, like, how does a person like that find this level of realism and authenticity in a performance? Because I doubt that she grew up that poor or that desperate or anything. It's like, I'm just blown away by a performance from, what was she, probably like early 20s now, something like that? I don't know, but like,
she's about 24 or 25 now, and I know I've listened to
and she's
interviews
playing
about,
a 17-year-old, right?
yes, a 16-year-old.
16.
I've watched and listened to a bunch of interviews about her and her life, and she did have a very normal upbringing. So I'm thoroughly impressed, and I also have to say I just absolutely adore Hunter Schafer. She has continually blown me away in this show, as has Sydney Sweeney. Two newcomers who I just want all of them to win Emmys and Globes. I think they're all incredible. They're just next level amazing.
Yeah. Hunter is, well, first of all, she's got such a unique role.
Yes.
Like, definitely I've never seen a character like Hunter in this show. Not just the role and the way that she plays it, but like the function of her character and how she's worked as like the love interest for Zendaya's character, but also like all the characters in the show feel three-dimensional and they're so flawed and not always in obvious ways. But yeah, like, this show it's incredibly well made. It just gives me nightmares. And so, like, I respect the fuck out of this show, but I don't know if I like it because it makes me uncomfortable at times.
I know what you mean.
You touched on it. I'll say one more thing before we go. The cinematography is crazy. In one of the early episodes, there's a scene where someone walks into the hallway of the school and then the camera sort of like moves out, tracks through the school, goes into a classroom. And I'm like, this is a high school drama. You didn't need to do that. That is overkill. Like, I've never seen a high school drama have that level of sophisticated cinematography and camera movements and just even the blocking.
Yes.
This thing's insane. And I'm just like, I'm watching it like, you didn't have to do that. Like,
You didn't have to.
they did. And it's really great. It's really great.
They also make every like dance party, like all of those scenes. I want to be there. I don't even care how dramatic it is. It looks fucking amazing. And the soundtrack is incredible.
I'm sorry, but like whenever I see one of those party scenes on Euphoria, like the old man inside me just wants to kick down the door and like, go home. You're too young for this. Stop doing drugs. Stop having
Hey, you
sex.
kids!
Yeah, that is not your boyfriend. Leave him alone. You kids are too young for this shit. Go watch The Wiggles. Like, and I know I sound like an old man. I know I sound like an old man, but like, I'm just horrified. Like, I know when I was a kid, I was doing crazy shit too. I was going to crazy parties.
Do they all have those red American plastic cups?
Probably, but that's not the
some
standout.
shows.
Like, it's just everything is. It's like you're on drugs and you're watching it. Like, it's a trip.
It's beautifully shot. And again, no high school drama show has this much of a right to look this good. Yeah, shouts to Euphoria. Anything else before we move on?
That's it. Just go watch it. It's amazing and continues to get more incredible. It's on a roll.
Maybe don't watch it if you got a weak stomach for
a lot of things.
Just remember, guys.
Horrible shit.
There's a lot of sexual themes. Some of them are very sex positive and good. Some of them, there's some traumatic shit in that show. Confronting is the word. Yeah. Look, let's move on to a happier topic. We got a lot of shows to talk about this week. I'll just quickly say I started watching Peacemaker. Follow up to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. It continues directly on from the post-credit scene, starring John Cena. Also, it's got, I forget her name. She played, was it Tasty in Orange is the New Black? Forget her name, but she's amazing. Her name is, I'm pulling it up right now. Her name is, I should have had this ready to go, Danielle Brooks. And I didn't know she was going to be in this show, but second I saw her and realized she was a main character, I was like, yes! Because she was one of my favorites from Orange is the New Black. But yeah, this is John Cena's show. Although the new fan favorite is a character called Adrian Chase. Superhero name is Vigilante. His name is Freddie Stromer. He is fucking hilarious. He is so funny. I believe the whole show... No, not the whole show, but almost the whole show is written and directed by James Gunn. I think there's 1 or 2 episodes he didn't do. But it feels like James Gunn. It's the same type of humor. Lots of dick jokes. The music is very James Gunn. The title sequence is literally a dance number to some like 80s hair metal rock.
That's amazing.
And I've already seen people on TikTok doing the dance. It's insane. Like all James Gunn character shows, there's a little CGI character that follows John Cena around. This one is an eagle called Eagly, and he's cute as fuck. But yeah, man, like, look, if you into the DC universe, you're already watching this. But this is probably the best. It's one of the best things we've seen DC do. Obviously, it's Laurel's Hang On Suicide Squad. I will say, though, like, I'm not as hyped about it as most. I think it is great, but well, the CGI is great. Characters are funny, especially Vigilante. It just feels like, if anyone's seen Doom Patrol, that's a show I didn't like. This is like just a slightly better version of that. Okay. But I've seen enough of these weird superhero shows. I'm starting to get over them. Like, we had Umbrella Academy. We had Doom Patrol. We have... It's another one. There's a what was it? Doesn't matter. But like they're starting to feel a bit same.
The Boys?
Nah, the Boys is more serious. There's another one where like comedy was really far in the phrase. I'm just trying to remember what it was. Doesn't matter. But like Doom Patrol, Umbrella Academy, and this all have the same vibe. Where it's like really weird. Sometimes it's too weird. Like I don't feel like it's like some of the comedy feels really forced to me. It's like this doesn't have to be a funny scene. You don't have to squeeze a joke in here. But with the most recent episode, at a really nice emotional moment, the thing that James Gunn is best at is making you love a character through comedy and then hitting out of nowhere with some like great character moments. And it's a really nice subplot where Peacemaker gets his like weapons and shit from his dad, who used to be, or he used to be a supervillain called the White Dragon, who was like a racist KKK type guy. And there's starting to dive into these themes of like, you know, he loves his dad, but he doesn't respect his dad and like his beliefs and stuff. And it's kind of nice to see like it's not all surface level. There's like some nuance and some good character work there, and tackling some like hard-hitting subjects. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited to see where this show goes. I don't know if there's a season 2 planned. I don't know if this will tie into another movie. I don't know how many more seasons it would do. I just feel like right now it's lacking a big bad. Like there's a problem they've got to solve, but I would like to see more of a central villain. I think it might end up being his dad, but I don't know.
It sounds like it could go that way.
Yeah, it's good. There's also this character called Mern, which I'm not crazy about because Mern just feels like a placeholder for Amanda Waller, who was in the movie. Like, similar vibes, 100%, pretty much copy and paste, same personality. Amanda Waller does make a cameo in the first episode, but it's like, what's the point? This they're two characters that serve the same function.
Right.
So I know I'd like to see them do more with this Mern character because right now she feels kind of pointless. But yeah, long story short, it's a great show. I'm loving it. And James Gunn is a god. He doesn't miss.
Would you be happy if they announced another season?
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to seeing a new episode every week. John Cena is doing his John Cena-est. Like, I'm not.
Is this his first show? Is this like first show he's led by himself?
I believe so. Unless you count wrestling, I guess.
No, well, I mean that's like an ensemble thing. Yeah.
But yeah, he's clearly the main character here. Like honestly, I was surprised John Cena wanted to do a series because I feel like he's still. Trying to. I haven't seen him nail a role as the main character in a film yet, and I feel like he keeps getting close. But I suppose when James Gunn calls, you don't say no. I suppose, you know?
And
he's very, very clearly loves playing this character. Like, excuse me, but when they were touring, promoting Suicide Squad, he did it all in costume. He wouldn't take it off. He kept joking that they wouldn't give him the suit, so he just refused to take it off. And he clearly loves the character. So, like, more power to him, honestly. Like, I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, but I do like him.
I'm on the same boat, I think. Like, I definitely do not dislike him by any stretch. I'm not his biggest fan ever, but I'll watch anything he does.
Yeah, I just feel like there's always, like, some sort of barrier stopping me from loving him. Like, he doesn't do anything wrong. I just feel... I don't know.
It's because he was a wrestler, wasn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, actually, because I feel the same about Batista.
And The Rock?
No, but The Rock is charming. The Rock has a level of charm that I feel like Batista and John Cena don't have.
The way you're describing him, Matt, is it's like, look, we've been on 3 dates and we could be best friends, but I just don't think that we're meant to be in a relationship.
I gotta say, some of Batista's movie and TV choices, I think, though, are really fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, he's done some really good projects compared to he's probably chosen the best projects to expand his
repertoire.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it, acting compared to the other wrestlers turned actors. So,
well, the interesting thing about Batista is he seems to like only want to do, for the most part, he really wants to focus on like high level. Like he wants to work with the best directors. Like he wants to work with the Ridley Scotts. He wants to work with the guy who did Dune. I forget his name.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. Like he wants to work with them. Like he's actually said openly, he's like, I don't want to do Fast and Furious. I reckon that's trash. And he,
whoa,
like,
wow.
Yeah, like people have campaigned for him to do that, and he's like, no, like they're terrible movies. And
Good on you, Batista.
But like every time it's like on one point, yeah, he rings a point. But on the other hand, dude, you did My Spy and Stuber back to back. I think he failed at comedy and he's just bitter about it, honestly.
Maybe.
But look, I think at the same time though, like I don't think Batista's a great actor. I think he just got lucky with an amazing role from James Gunn. We've gone full circle.
True.
Because the character of
Drax,
yeah, like it was just really. It could have been played by anyone, but it really did suit Batista. But I feel like he's got the same problem with John Cena. I think where he's amazing, but not as the lead. He needs to be like the muscle. You put him in a group, and he's like the muscle, and I think that's great.
And he does good in that kind of role. Like he was good.
I'd say they both do.
Like in June, I thought in both of Denis Villeneuve's films, like in Blade Runner 2049 and June, I think he was great in both those roles.
Great.
But he's meshes well into that big tough guy kind of.
Yeah,
that the main character usually has to fight or something like that.
And I've sort of brought this up before when we talk about like some Dwayne Johnson films, but that character is usually not as a lead protagonist, I find. But put him against, some that is, like make him like the straight man, funny man, or put him in a team. and that type of actor will nail a role, will do amazing. But yeah, like name a film starring Batista in the lead role, it's great. I can't do that for John Cena. Like Dwayne Johnson, I think it took him years to get to the point he is now, where he's so charismatic and you're gonna laugh. But like you watch like, I know, Doom. Remember Doom?
Yes.
And it's like,
I never saw it.
He's barely acting in that film.
I've played the video games, but
wasn't he in Anaconda? Was he in that
Was
one?
it? He was in Scorpion King.
Maybe I'm confusing them.
Maybe you think
but,
of that.
like,
And to be fair, he was all right in Scorpion King. But like, yeah, he was all right. Was he in Anaconda? I don't think he was.
I don't know. I think it's just that time
No.
period.
You know how I know he wasn't Anaconda?
How?
If he was, we would know because that would have taken place in the jungle. And
Oh
we would
my
have made fun of him for
God.
it.
You are so right. But that whole era, that whole period of movies was when he was just making that
Starting out,
like transition, and people do actually forget it's taken like decades for him to get to this point.
You might be thinking of Welcome to the Jungle, I reckon.
That's the one. That's the one.
And in that film, he wasn't like by himself. He was with
it wasn't like an ensemble.
Stifler or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he was.
Yeah.
So like he worked in that context.
Sean William Scott.
I think if you put him in an Anaconda movie, it would take away the attention from the Anaconda, which is what that whole movie's about. You got to with
Anaconda would just be his dick pic.
He'd be like, "Nah, I'm good." Yeah.
With Anaconda, you got to chuck a whole bunch of nobodies in there just to watch them kill because the Anaconda's the main star. Like.
Yeah. Anyways, we're way off topic now. So that's what I thought of Peacemaker.
Okay.
Actually, I will say one thing I am liking that it looks like they're setting up, and I hope they pull it off. But you know, the character Peacemaker in Suicide Squad. They always said his name's Peacemaker because he will do whatever it takes to get peace, regardless of how many men, women, or children he has to kill to get it. And in the show, there's been options with like, okay, kill these children and you'll save the world. And he's like, I'm not killing the kid. And it's like, but you're Peacemaker. And so it's like, it's actually created some internal conflict, and they've challenged the core of the character. I'm like, that's good writing. Like, say what you want, but that is good writing. And that's like, when you see a bad superhero film, it's never fully obvious, but I feel like that's part of it. It's like, it's not challenging the character properly. It's just like, he's a black alien monster. Let's make him fight a red alien monster. And not, you know, well, what is Venom really? You know, but that's what's good about Peacemaker is, they're challenging the concept of the character.
I'll definitely be getting onto this. Like now that I've, become depressed with Euphoria, I'm gonna mix it up with Peacemaker.
It's a good cheer up show. It is legitimately funny, especially I think episode 2 or 3 when you meet the vigilante character properly. He is really this actor. Let me pull up his name.
He was in Harry Potter, I'm pretty sure. He's blonde, right?
Freddie Stromer.
Yeah, he was in
Freddie Stromer.
Harry Potter. He's one of the Quidditch players. That's where I know him from.
He played Cormac McLaggen in Harry Potter and I can't read the whole... Half-Blood Prince. There you go. And he was another one, Deathly Hallows. He was in a couple of Harry Potters, looks like. And Pitch Perfect. And the In-Betweeners too. And I'm spending too much time on his IMDb page. So let's move on. Next up, our last TV chats for today. Ozark Season 4 is out. Season 4 Part 1. Now, I've started the show. I know it's great.
Good.
But I've started
Do that to yourself.
I've started it like 3 times, and I know it's a good show. I just never have the time or attention span to get through it, but I will at some point. So without too many spoilers, Jesse, how are they going with Season 4? Part 1. Well, actually, can you explain to us what's this Part 1, Part 2 nonsense going on?
So it's the final season. So Season 4 is the very last season they're doing, which I think's good. If they got to wrap the story up then, great. Don't pull a Dexter not Game of Thrones, that's not a good example, but Dexter or however Shameless or whatever the other shows where we're trying to drag it out, or Walking Dead, we try and drag it out as long as we can until just the quality dilutes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Breaking Bad, right? And I think Game of Thrones where they cut the final season up. Did they do that with? Yeah, they did it with Game of Thrones and Dexter. They had a final season. They cut it in half.
Yeah.
But
I don't think Dexter they did.
Sorry, not Dexter. Breaking Bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. They cut it in half. But I think with those two, they put them out over like a year apart. But this one, I think they're gonna put them both out this year. Right?
Yeah. So it's going to be 14 episodes. The first 3 seasons were about 10 episodes, I think. So the first 7 episodes are out. They only came out on Netflix like a couple of days ago, and I've already binged the whole thing because it's just that good. It's that series that is so fast paced and just does not let you stop for a breath. It's just constantly going and just keeps you on the edge of your seat. It is by far the best Netflix series I've ever watched, and I'd even go as far to say it's one of the best TV shows I've ever watched. I'd put it up there with Breaking Bad, Sopranos, True Detective.
I've never heard a bad thing about it.
It's fantastic. All the performances are on like top notch. Writing's top notch. The characters aren't dumb. They're all smart. They do make smart decisions. You're constantly on the edge of your seat. Characters. It's like one of those shows where no one's safe. Like they just kill characters off, and you just have no idea who's going to survive to the end. They killed the first half of this season 4. They killed some characters off that I did not expect them to kill off, and I was just like, just floored by. Like, wow. So I won't, because Matt started it, I'm not going to spoil anything. But for viewers that have seen it, or at home, you kind of get the gist of, I'll just say they're trying to get an exit out of this whole messy business they're in. They've got a window of opportunity, and I try and take it. So that's all I'm gonna say, because if Matt promises me he's gonna watch it, which I recommend you both watch it, even if you're not into crime stuff. I recommend you both watch it because it's that addictive. 80 hasn't even watched Breaking Bad. 80, you're gonna get onto those shows.
I'm going to need to take a month off of work just to watch TV shows, honestly.
Yeah. You do it. Just say to work, nah, I'm not coming in. I've got more important things to do.
You know what, though? Like, Breaking Bad is amazing, but, like, in the middle, it really dips. Like, I feel like...
What's the middle?
Like season 2, season 3 are really long. It was like during a period, like they had like, I think season 2 had like 20 something episodes, and they go into like the whole shit with Hank when he like, is disabled for a little bit. And
Marie, Marie, what is it?
The minerals.
The minerals, Marie.
but Adrienne, the reason people hype it up is particularly the final season. The final season is one of the, like season 1 is also really great, and it's a quick watch. It's only I think 6 episodes. But I feel like it does slow down in the middle. But oh my god, the final season of Breaking Bad is one of the best seasons of television you'll ever watch.
I see. I'm at the opposite end. I thought season 1 was a little bit slow, but then from season 2 right to the end, I was hooked. I was hooked throughout the whole thing. I was never bored. It never dragged for me. I was just hooked from season 2 to the end.
I think
so.
It picks up once you get Gus, who is Giancarlo Espinosa.
Fantastic. Yeah, Esposito.
One of the best.
Esposito. Yeah.
Esposito, sorry. He is one of the best actors working. Every time I find out he's playing a villain in a show, I get so excited. Or a movie, I'm like, oh my god! And knowing that he's going to be like the main villain in The Boys season 3, I am through the moon. Like as if that show couldn't get better.
I'd argue that Ozark has some of the best villains as well. Ozark has some amazing villains. The first villain in season 1, the first main villain, Del, is probably the best villain I reckon they've had. But there's a new villain in season 4 who's also fantastically brilliant. He's played by an actor called Alfonso Herrera. I think his name is. I probably butchered that. Do you know him, Adrienne?
Yeah.
Or if he was in the Exorcist TV series, was actually a good series. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Exorcist TV series. It was actually
I do enjoy sleeping in the evening, so
it was actually a good show. But Ozark season 4 part 1, I loved it. It was fantastic, and just I can't wait for the final 7 episodes. One of the best shows. Go and see it. Netflix.
Awesome.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to quickly ask. I love Jason Bateman. Is he like your fave in Ozark, or?
Oh man, he's I think
From what I've seen, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good, but so is his wife, Laura Linney. She's
Yeah.
fantastic. She kind of almost steals the whole thing. But then so does Julie Garner as Ruth. They're all fantastic. I love them all. I can't really pick out.
A favorite.
They're all fantastic.
All right.
They're all brilliant. So
I will say, very early on, like in the first episode, Jason Bateman had a very like Walter White elements to his character, like the way he's convincing people and shit. And so it reminded me of Breaking Bad, and that's why I'm keen on the show.
Okay.
But anyways,
how far are you gotten? Just before we move on.
Not far. Like maybe 5 episodes or so.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Season 1. Anyways, let's move on because, guys, we have spent way too long on the television segment. Generally, by now, we'd almost be ready for the discussions. So let's smash through these next few. I'm sure a lot of them won't take that long. But let's talk about the biggest one. Upcoming series coming to Disney Plus, Marvel's Moon Knight. Now, for everyone here, I don't expect you to know who Moon Knight is because he's a deep fucking cut. He's a character I barely know, but I have a friend, shout out to Rick, who is probably listening to this episode right now. One of our big friends of the show. This is one of his favorite Marvel characters, and he's been messaging me every day about it for like maybe 6 months. So there are some very hardcore fans for Moon Knight out there. As for me, I'm going into this kind of blind. So don't ask me for much Marvel information on this one because I don't have it to give. But let's go around the circle. What do you think of this trailer? Let's start with 80. What do you reckon of this Moon Knight trailer?
I had never heard of him, so this was all very new for me. It looks really interesting, semi-confusing. I think I'm just gonna... I did do like a tad bit of research about his character's background, and it sounds like and looks like it's going to be a whirlwind. I feel like it's definitely one where you're going to have to pay all of your attention to, because if you miss one little thing, it might screw you over in the long run. I think the visuals are going to be really cool. You can see the production value is very high. So
yeah. They're definitely teasing us too, because we don't really see much of the costume or the VFX, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of it in this going forward. So I feel like this trailer, it's really teasing us.
It is. It really is. I really I love Oscar Isaac too, and I look forward to anything he does. I was going to ask you if you had any cool facts for me, Matt, but I was going to do that as well.
Yeah. Here's what I know, okay? A lot of people call him Moon Knight, they call him Marvel's Batman, but I've heard a lot of people say it's not fully accurate. I saw there's a meme going around, says the difference between Moon Knight and Batman is Batman dresses in black so his villains won't see him coming. Moon Knight dresses in white so they know that there's nothing they can do about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's meant to be one of the darkest and most brutal Marvel heroes out there, but it touches on some really weird some odd topics and some really sensitive ones. So he's like possessed or something by a spirit from ancient Egypt or something to do with that. And as a result, he has like multiple personality disorder. I think there's like 20-something identities that live with him, but it doesn't look like they're going down a split path. So I know mental illness is a big element of his character, but I'm really unsure how Disney are going to tackle this, because I think with this show, they're going to want to keep Moon Knight PG-13. So, you can interact with other Marvel characters and stuff. But looking at the show, it looks like it looks like one of the most darkest MCU projects we've seen. The cinematography reminds me of the Daredevil show, which was from Netflix. That was R18. So there was some conversation of like, how's this going to be rated? I feel like, judging by this trailer, they found a nice balance. They've sort of, it looks like it could work within the Marvel universe and still touch on some dark themes. But my question is, how dark will they get?
I I get you.
And yeah, he's very much like, it seems like he's a little bit like a mummy at times. He's very Egyptian inspired. But yeah, Jesse, anything else to add to? Oh, sorry, go on, Adrian.
I did read about how many multiple personalities he has, and I was just thinking, how are they going to bring that to the table? That sounds very intense.
I wonder if the reason... So Oscar Isaac's American, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Because I think he's putting on an accent. He's putting on an English accent here.
I thought wasn't bad.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe the reason he's putting on an English accent is so when he does another personality, he can do on his American accent. He can play around with accents a bit more, maybe. Honestly, I just think it's funny how Marvel, they cast all these British people and make them play Americans. And they get an American here and they get him to play
British.
Yeah. It's like, let's just fucking make up your mind. Get someone to stick with what they got. But this isn't... Oh, no, actually, no. I'm thinking of... I was going to say he played the Egyptian pharaoh in Night at Museum, but that wasn't him. That was Rami Malek. My bad. But yeah, Jesse, do you have anything else to add to this trailer? Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, I was going to borrow a page from Adrian's book and ask you, because I don't know anything about this guy and I don't really know much about superhero stuff. But I like Oscar Isaac. I probably won't end up watching it because unless it's something that we need to watch for the podcast, I probably won't end up seeing it. It's not usually my thing. But I think it looks much more intriguing to me compared to other Marvel stuff, because I find when Marvel shows and movies do stuff that's not formulaic and very similar to all the other Marvel stuff, they tend to do a lot better because it's something different and more original. And I feel like that's the way of this show. They're doing something that's not formulaic. It's more darker. It's more different, more, original. So it looks much more intriguing and different and unique in comparison to all the other Marvel content that we see often, which I think is going to be to its own benefit. So
look, you really touch on like a thing like the secret to Marvel movies, Marvel Studios' success is they have been playing around with genre and their formula. They always sort of go back to their formula at the end of the day with the movies. I feel like the shows have had a bit more freedom. But yeah, the most successful projects often are the ones where they move away or they try something different, whether it be Guardians of the Galaxy or WandaVision or The Winter Soldier, where it's like their first time where they're like, let's not make a superhero movie. It's like that was like a political thriller. But recently we've seen it not work so much. Like Eternals was a bit of a flop, commercially and stuff. And then some of the shows haven't had the best reception. But surprisingly, we never really had a really dark project from the MCU, like owned by Disney. This might be their darkest yet. And so we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, I think there is a chance to do something original with this character. Yeah. But I guess we'll see. Shall we move on?
Yes, we shall.
Our next trailer to talk about today is Studio 666. Now, this is a film I never saw coming, starring Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters. It's kind of like a comedy movie. Who the fuck would think that a band would make a movie like this? Like, it's not like Justin Bieber or someone coming out with or Billie Eilish going, here's a documentary of my life. No, it's a straight up comedy film. It feels like it could be like
horror.
Yeah, comedy film. Yeah.
Horror comedy. It could be, you could have done this movie with like Jason Bateman or Seth Rogen, but no, it's a straight up horror comedy starring the Foo Fighters. I never saw this coming. What do you, Adi, you're a big comedy fan. What do you think of this trailer? I
am. I'm also a big Foo Fighters fan. I've seen them live. Like, I've queued up 8 hours early for the show sort of thing to make sure I get a good spot. I am just so keen. I'm pretty sure Dave Grohl co-wrote this. He's been doing a lot of writing for the last few years. He said that he started, he just had a book come out, and he said during lockdown he got really, really into it. So I'm not entirely shocked. Plus, he's got a whole history with the Foo Fighters of having just a tad extra production value in their music videos and turning them into sort of like mini movies. And he's like best pals with Jack Black and Tenacious D, his band. And throughout the years, like he's been in Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, and then he's played like the devil in some of their music videos. And there's always this like comedic satanic element to his stuff. And I think that this was just like, he's just one of those guys who's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just make a movie about us making our 10th studio album. And it's actually filmed in the house that they did actually record it in, which is a fun fact for you.
Wow.
And it's just going to be their insane sense of humor. And I think he said something about it's just going to be like something that's going to make you laugh and headbang to your popcorn or something like that. And it'll just fuck you up. So, yeah. Gore that fucking rocks. That's what he said. Yeah. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The second I saw this trailer, my first thought was, who's Jack Black going to play? Because you know he's going to be in this movie. Like, they've done so much comedic work together. I feel like, if anything, Tenacious D is probably the one who got Dave Grohl into the realm of comedy. But he's done a bunch of other stuff. Like, what was that, like, Carrie parody they did once? It was like a YouTube vid.
Yeah.
Like, they have a history of it. But, like, what surprises me is that this isn't a movie starring Dave Grohl. It's a movie starring the Foo Fighters. So while we're used to seeing Dave Grohl do interviews and all sorts of other shit, I have no idea who these other motherfuckers are because I'm like a very casual fan. So I don't really know what to expect. Jesse, what do you reckon of this trailer?
It looked fucking nutty. It looked very nutty. It looked fucking weird, but like in a good way. Like it looked, it looked like a Tucker and Dale versus Evil kind of vibes.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about the Foo Fighters. Like when I say that, I know next to nothing about the Foo Fighters. But yeah, it looked like kudos to them for I don't know if I recall seeing a band write and star in a movie as themselves.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it looked really nutty and weird. But yeah, I kind of liked it. So no, nothing but good things to say.
The only bands I can think of that have written and starred in a movie as them, Tenacious, like, it's all people who have comedy backgrounds, like Tenacious D.
Yeah.
The Lonely Island sort of did it with Popstar.
Yeah,
they were playing different characters, but they were essentially themselves. But like again, this is not a comedic band. This is an actual many people would argue the last real rock and roll band in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Because you don't see AC/DC doing interviews every day and stuff like. I think my biggest surprise with this trailer is that it was good. Okay, first of all, there's an amazing supporting cast. I'm seeing so many familiar faces and comedians that are around them. So clearly they've been shepherded and they've involved a lot of great comedic talent, which I think is the first thing you should do if you've got a bunch of like, I don't want to say no names, but like people who aren't known for comedy. So if they falter, the supporting cast can like lift them up. Like that's what made John Cena look good in Blockers, I would say. A lot of people praise his performance, but I think his performance there was all because of supporting cast around him,
Yep.
And I feel like, because I'm like looking at these people that they don't even look like actors. Like they don't, which is probably a good thing, right? It's a bit refreshing. So this film has a lot of potential. Yeah. And this film has a lot of potential to be like a cult classic. It has potential to be a breath of fresh air. And I was just saying, I think in the last podcast, it's been a long time since we had a good straight up comedy movie.
Yeah.
That wasn't like an action adventure Marvel thing. This looks like the best comedy film I've seen in like at least a year. Maybe, when was the last good comedy film I've seen in cinemas?
It's been a while.
Was it Blockers? Maybe. I can't remember. It's been ages. It's like last year during COVID, I can only think of 2 films that even came out that I would consider comedies, and they both were flops. So, shouts Studio 666. I'm really, I can't wait for the inevitable Christian protest against this film.
I know.
If it happens, it'll just help the marketing.
100%.
This film looks great, and shout out to Foo Fighters for trying something different. I still have trouble believing that this is real and not a crazy promotional stunt. But yeah, good on him. And it's done at such a massive Hollywood level.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how successful and rich the Foo Fighters are. Because I doubt any major studios were desperate to fund this movie. I'm sure they probably put a lot of their own pocket into this. So
I'm
good on
sure
them.
they did, but also Dave is friends with everyone and is so widely loved that he would have had no trouble making any of this happen.
He would make a great producer, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Speaking of comedy, this is not an outright comedy in the traditional sense, but we got Jackass Forever. We finally got a trailer, and I guess the question's always been like, how can they do another Jackass movie? They're so old, and it's bringing the younger generation. But guys, let me just, before we get into this, the real reason I want to talk about it is like, what's your history with the Jackass franchise? Have you done any Jackass pranks throughout your day? I know in high school, Jackass was all the rage against my group of friends. What do you guys feel about? How do you guys feel about Jackass?
I absolutely love all the movies. I've seen a lot of their behind the scenes skits and stuff like that, and I think they're fantastic. Me and my mates used to watch all their movies when we were in school, go to the cinemas and watch it, and then watch it sometimes on DVD when we were at home or whatever. I don't know if we ever tried to recreate some of the stunts. I'm sure we probably did. I had a few mates that were kind of like that. We're trying to do all dangerous shit. And we had all bush around us as well. So,
fuck yeah.
You know, but yeah, I absolutely love Jackass, and I love them all. And I like that they're doing another one. I know for years people were like harping on them about doing a fourth. And I think for a long time, they just kind of wanted to not do a fourth because it's like, you know, we had 3 good movies. Let's just leave it. You know, Ryan Dunn's obviously passed away, and, you know, Bam Margera's kind of gone on and off the wagon with alcohol and drugs and whatnot. So, but yeah, they managed to bring another one and bring some younger people into the mix. And yeah, I'm down. I'll be there and I'll be seeing it. So.
Can I pitch to you I don't know if they'll do this, but this is how I wish Jackass Forever will end. Here's how I wish the finale goes down. Like, you think they're gearing up for a big stunt, but what it turns out what they go is like, we're going to play a big prank on Bam. And then like Bam hears about it, he's worried or whatever. Or no, he doesn't know about it. They're going to do something. But what ends up happening is like, they like go to Bam's house because we know very publicly they wouldn't let him in because of his drug habits and stuff. Maybe they just give him a check or something, or they go to him, hey man, you think we're really going to do this movie without you? And he's like, oh, what? And goes, look, we still love you. You're our friend. And we get a nice emotional moment. And then like, because at the end of the day, the reason we love Jackass isn't just the stunts. It's because the friendship between them. Like, you feel like you hang out with your friends, and it sucks until you're best friends are fighting, and Johnny Knoxville and Bam Margera are kind of like the leads. So I would give anything if they at least address the situation with Bam.
Well, they're still keeping
nice
his stunts
way.
in. They're still keeping his stunts in the movie, even though they had a falling out halfway like through production or whatever.
Oh, really? So
they're still keeping all his stunts in that he
I
did.
thought they kept him completely out and like he wasn't even involved.
No.
Okay, that's good.
So
he's not in the trailer at all. Like
he had to follow like a strict protocol, from what I understand, with his like his drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. Like he had to follow he had to be like clean and sober and stuff like that. And I think, and he filmed some stunts, and then something happened, and they got into an argument, and he was basically kicked off again because he broke his protocol of the rules or whatever.
Fuck.
And so he was really salty about that. But they're still using all the footage. I read they're still using all the footage they had of him in the movies.
Good.
So,
that's nice.
He will be in it,
Yeah.
but probably not heaps.
I understand if they'd have fallen out too, because Steve-O is really proud of his sobriety. Like he does a lot of podcasts these days. I think he has his own podcast and has a lot of interviews, and that's his main topic. He talks about sobriety, talks about beating drugs, he talks about all that. And they say, like, when you're a recovering addict, you know, you've got to stay away from other addicts and drug users. So I imagine, you know, with Steve-O, they've got to it's not good for him to be around some like band unless they can do something.
Steve-O's
so.
drug use was just fucked. Like, have you heard some of the stuff like for him to get drugs? Like, absolutely fucked. Like
that guy is a wild one.
He was always my favorite. Like of the whole cast, he was always my favorite.
Yeah. You excited for this, Adrienne?
Yeah, I'm excited. I remember whenever I think of Jackass, I think of sneaking into the cinema to, try to watch it with all my friends because it was, like, whoa, it's Jackass. That's so crazy. Like, MA15 or whatever. I don't know. That's just what I think of. But I also, thinking about it, I think I did want to do more crazy, stupid things when that was really popular. And I dead set remember one time, so growing up, because we were on acreage, we always had like little dirt bikes and stuff, and we had one time our neighbor like build sort of hills for us to go over, and one afternoon after school I was like, you know what, like how cool would it be if I just went full speed over one of them? And it was about 1 meter high. And I did it, and I ended up nearly crashing into a cement like cylinder, like this huge like thing that was in the backyard. And after I did that, I was like, you know what? I'm really happy to never do anything like this ever again. And I feel like that warning at the begining's probably like, I should probably listen to that.
I like how they got those warnings at the start of like every show and movie they do, and all the kids are like, nah, fuck it, we're still doing it.
Of course you're gonna do it. Like
if anything, it makes you want to do it more.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh man, just watching this stuff, it makes you feel like a kid again. I remember the crazy shit my mates went up to. I just remember this one time at a house party in the backyard. Some mate of mine had like fireworks, but he didn't really know how to use them, and instead of shooting them up, like they fell over, and they just launched at everybody. And I think some girl's hair got caught on fire.
Jesus.
And I know it sounds traumatic, but we all thought it was hilarious.
That is hilarious. Not gonna lie.
Oh man! Look, to quote the song in this trailer, and I love the fact they used it in this trailer. If you're gonna be dumb, then you gotta be tough. Mm-hmm. And I love that they use that song in this trailer. It's freaking awesome. It's a really, really well done trailer, and they pulls on nostalgia in just the right way. These guys know how to do shit.
They do.
Fuck yeah! All right, moving on to our last trailer for today. We're going to talk about Joe and Carol. This is the latest of the Tiger King craziness. Hopefully the last, because I can't imagine what else you do after this, which is actual dramatization of the events that went down, starring Kate McKinnon as Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
And who's playing Joe in this? Is it? I'm not actually sure. But the thing that gets to me is the guy playing Joe. He feels a little bit too skinny. I feel like Joe's got a fatter head. But the outfit looks good. The performance looks good. Jesse,
John Cameron Mitchell.
What's he done? Are you guys familiar with him?
He's done some stuff, yeah.
Look, Jesse, you are a huge Tiger King fan. Mm-hmm. What's your
compared to you guys? Yeah, I was probably saying that. Yeah.
What's your take on this very short trailer for this upcoming series?
To be honest, actually, kind of mixed. From what I've seen of the guy playing, and I don't know that actor playing Joe Exotic that well. From what I'm seeing, and this might just be early, like assuming way too early. I feel like he's taking it a bit too over the top. I feel like he needs to
Joe Exotic going too over the top.
No, but I feel like he's acting as if Joe Exotic's missing half a brain. And like, look, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's not that dumb. Like, I feel like this guy's taking it to 150%, which I feel he needs to kind of dial it back a bit. I thought Kate McKinnon was fine as Carol Baskin. I feel like all the actors are doing an okay job, and I kind of got the feel. They shot this in Queensland, by the way, in Australia.
That's right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, because I remember when Kyle MacLachlan, who's playing Howard Baskin, came down to Australia to film it up in Queensland, because I was doing a few articles and stuff about him. But yeah, like it looks okay, but I'm just a bit wary about a couple of performances, including Joe Exotic. I know that's probably going to be a hot take for some people, but also I don't think this is the only Joe Exotic Tiger King production thing. I think there's another one. I can't remember what it's called though, but I'm pretty sure there's another one, and I can't remember the actor who's playing Joe Exotic in that one. But I'm like,
well, I thought this was going to be a movie, and so when I saw it was a series, I got surprised. So maybe there is another one.
Yeah. Let me have a look. I feel like it's.
Well, can I? While you do that, I'm going to mention something here because this is really, maybe this is not accurate, but I'm on IMDb right now, and I don't think everything's accurate because they say Kate McKinnon's in 8 episodes. Mm-hmm. Most people just says 1 or 2. And I doubt you're going to have Joe versus Carol and Joe Exotic in only 1 episode.
Yeah.
He's also nowhere near the top for top
build cast.
Casting. So yeah, build cast. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But look, you got some other big actors in here. Dean Winters as Jeff Lowe. You got Nat Wolf in there as William.
I love Nat Wolf.
Fishner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some great guys in here. What do you reckon, Adrienne?
I'm gonna watch it for the actors for sure. I am not as hardcore a fan as old Jesse here, but I definitely think I'm gonna enjoy the dramatized version. I still have to watch the last season. I feel like I've got a lot left to be. I don't. Okay.
It's. I really don't think it's nowhere as exciting as season 1. I feel.
Yeah, you could probably.
It's less narrative based too. Like the reason I'm excited for this is that it's narrative based, and it's dramatization, so it could be exciting. But the other one, season 2 of Tiger King, it just sort of like, hey, remember this character? Or here's some other information about him.
It was unnecessary.
Feels like it's like an animated Wikipedia page. It's like supplementary content, you know?
Do you know what I think as well? Is this going to ruin kind of like the whole documentary kind of feel, like the whole like mystery and cookiness behind it and the craziness behind it? You know what I mean?
Well, judging by Tiger King season 2, this just means that they're going to make a Tiger King season 3 and they're just going to talk about all the behind the scenes. Now Joe hates this movie and blah blah. That's all what season 2 was like them talking about the doco.
Yeah.
So I feel like they'll do a season 3 and they'll just be ripping on this movie the whole time.
Damn. I'm purely here for the performances. I fucking love Kate McKinnon. I've said for years, like, she is so underrated. I'm really excited for her to actually get to play a real life person.
I feel like she, like, I buy her as a young Carol.
Yeah, me too.
Bit. But I feel like Carol definitely wasn't that young when this went down. But
I think they've tried to age her a bit. Like, based on the makeup, they've tried to weather her a little bit. Yeah,
I think, But hey, speaking of Joe versus Carol, Jesse, I know you recently watched the new doco on Netflix. It's 3 episodes called, was it Tiger King? What was it called?
Doc Antle story or something like that, or it's only 3
the Doc
episodes
Antle
long.
Story. Is there any interesting takeaways that we should?
Netflix just kind of like here you go, here you go, you talk kiffers. You want some more, you filthy bastards?
I feel like honestly, they made that and Tiger King 2 thinking, oh, the first season was a huge hit.
Yeah.
So we'll put these out, everyone's gonna love it, and then no one just collectively. No one.
Do you know what? I still find the whole thing fucking interesting because it goes back into Doc Antle's story and his kind of cult setup and his inspiration to set up his really fucked up cult. And I'm going to say this now. He is probably, I would say, more fucked up than Joe Exotic is.
Okay.
Saying this now, he was, and we're going to be careful here because I don't want to get sued. Or the podcast get sued, but allegedly, we're going to use that.
We got no money.
We got that A word we're going to just shove in there. He was basically grooming 11, 12, 13-year-old girls and making sexual advances on them when he was in his 20s and 30s. And he likes
once a piece of shit, always a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He grooms young teenage girls pretty much. That's the probably one of the worst things. And he was having sex with young teenage girls. And all these girls, when coming out, who are now obviously a lot older, like, because I can't remember how old he's, like in his 60s or guessing or something like that. All these women are coming out like in their 40s or whatever, or 30s and 40s, saying, yeah, he did this and that. He was, I was like a young teenager and he was very sexually aggressive and trying to flirt and pursue me and whatever. and he often targets young girls who, because they talk about like this cult, like I can't remember what it was called, but this cult-like community in this place called Yogaville or something like that. And he would often target girls there because that's where he got a lot of his inspiration to create his cult from and stuff like that. And all these women coming out talking about him. And he just sounds like a piece of shit, like absolute piece of shit. Yeah. And some of the stuff he does to these women, it makes him sound even worse than Joe Exotic. Yeah. And we know how bad Joe Exotic was. So,
well, fuck that cunt. Let's move on. he's a cunt. Moving on. All right, so Joe and Carl, it sounds great. Doc Antle sounds like a dick.
I just add one more thing quickly. There was this really interesting part in one of the episodes where he and his wife, who was like in her mid to late teens at the time, and he was like close to 30 or something, or about 30 years old, they try and create a Disney film. Disney funds them, gives them all this money to create a Disney film. They're going to make it like the next big Disney film because he had all these animals on his property, and the whole thing just the production just goes haywire, and the whole thing just becomes a massive flop. So I thought that was a very interesting part. He tried to create Disney gave him money, and they wanted him to create a Disney film based on the animals at his property. I thought that was just a very interesting part to it. So
damn.
Look, I'd buy it like in the early 2000s or something. There was a lot of like family-friendly comedy films starring animals, like whether it be Dr. Dolittle or the live-action 101 Dalmatians or Babe Pig in the City. There's a lot of those type of movies. So, yeah, I that's kind of believable. Wish it wasn't involving such a big piece of shit, but there you go. Moving on, though, guys. We're now going to get into our film discussions. So buckle up, because it's going to be a rocky ride. I don't know. I was just going to say something. Yeah. Spoiler alert. The following film discussions will contain spoilers. Scream, Copshop, and Spencer. If you don't want spoilers, check out the time codes in the description below. This is your spoiler warning. You've been warned. All right. So first, I'm going to talk about Scream. Then we're collectively going to talk about Copshop, which is out now on Netflix. And then we're going to close out with 80, talking about Spencer. I'm just going to quick sip of my beer first.
I need to start drinking
get that down, yeah.
Let's get it. Sponsored by... Oh, maybe not say this.
Here's to Matt. He's true blue.
That's not happening. Guys. You need to see Scream. Scream 5. It legitimately, it's probably the second best one after the first. It's very, very good.
Okay.
And it's hard to not talk spoilers, but I don't think you have to, if you're switched on and you like movies, like this is a must watch because the commentary is very relevant to today. There's a lot of talk, especially in the beginning, about elevated horror. Like, I found it interesting, like Scream 4, the new topic was torture porn, like Saw and Hostel and all that. And in this, like, they talk a lot about elevated horror, like Hereditary gets mentioned a few times, Get Out, all those movies, like, you know, horror with meaning. And with the big reveal and you meet the killers at the end, they're just like, fuck elevated horror. Like, sometimes you just want to see someone get stabbed. Which is kind of fun. But what it ends up being is they kind of don't really touch on it towards the end, but without spoiling the killers. But it's all fueled by toxic fandom. And, you know, like there's this amazing line by the killer at the end. He's like, how can fandom be toxic? It's all about you loving the film. And but he's saying this as he's trying to kill someone. So it's very out there. But without spoiling too much, the main focus of the film is requels. And they do acknowledge that the name is not fully out there right now. But it's the one I would compare it most to is Star Wars, like Force Awakens, where they have a new cast of younger people to continue the franchise, and they do it passing the torch, but they bring in the old cast to sort of keep the fans around and shepherd them. And these killers are all about they're people who met on turns out they're people who met on Reddit, and they want to. These aren't major spoilers, by the way. I don't think, like, because I'm not giving away who killers are and stuff. But they're people who, you know, they want to make the Stab movies, which is the Scream movies in their universe. They want to make it good because the franchise went to shit. So, like, you got to bring back the old cast. We're going to do it in the old house. And it's like they're sort of directing their own horror movie. But the thing that's amazing about this is just like the other or the better Scream movies is it believable? Maybe not. But they managed to walk the line where it's never a comedy. It's always a horror first. Yes, there are funny moments. And there's some great commentary. And there's some parts where they're kind of shoving it down your throat. But the Scream movies, I think, they've got a unique situation where they've built a path for them to get away with that shit. They've done a really great job of doing it. And oh man, shout out to these directors because they capture the tone and essence and dialogue of Wes Craven to a T. Like, if you told me Wes Craven wrote and directed this, I would believe it. Here then, I'm just going to shout them out. Matt Bettinelli Alpin, I've probably screwed that up, and Tyler Gillett. These two, I believe, are the ones who did Ready or Not. And I was...
Yes, I liked Ready or Not.
I was surprised going into this because I'm like, oh, well, that's like a really... Like, it's a horror movie, but the comedy is so in your face there. So I thought, oh, this is going to be like one of the big, like, more comedic takes on Scream. No. It's like a murder mystery, it's drama, it's horror first with commentary on the genre of horror movies and modern horror movies. And there are comedic elements, but they're all organic to the story. There's a really great scene where I won't touch on it, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. They sort of do a joke that Scary Movie did about the first Scream movie. They did the same joke, but they did it with their own unique take in a way that wasn't making fun of Scream. They did it in a way that really honored it, and it was done amazingly. I can't believe they pulled this off. Like, the hype is real. This is a movie for the fans. It's a movie for not just fans of Scream, fans of horror. And if you're listening to a film podcast, this is for you because they talk about the same shit we would talk about. Admittedly, some people don't talk like real characters because they're literally just giving off their little agendas and thoughts about how horror movies are these days. But like, that's kind of why I love the Scream movies. This movie has so much to say about the current state of horror films. And regardless of what it is, it's great to see a movie that has something to say and able to say it well. I think my last comment I've got to say on this is Scream 5 achieves everything The Matrix Resurrections wanted to do. But one film fell flat on its face and one did it really well. I mean, they both have the previous films exist in continuity through another medium, whether it be video games or movies. They both have got like an older cast, bring in the new cast. They both try and recreate scenes. They both have commentary about the current state of requels and franchises and how like the industry just wants to suck money out and they don't treat the fans well. Both films actually do that. They say like the industry, the way that they milk franchises, aren't treating the fans well. But the difference is like the Scream franchise has set up a universe where it's okay to talk about that, and it's still done with love. You know, it feels like you're talking with another fan. The Matrix, it feels bitter, and they're like easy jokes, and it just doesn't work within that universe. So for everything bad I have to say about Scream, I've got like the good version of that to say about Scream 5. Even the name is commentary because like they'll talk about movies like Halloween, where the new Halloween is actually a sequel to Halloween, where they have like Laurie come back and the old cast. But so that's why it's not called Scream 5. It's because it's the way requels are done nowadays. So it's very smart. I think it's very, very well written in the sense that like, if you take this to a script doctor, they might say people don't talk like this, but when you consider the fact that it's trying to juggle the meta of the universe where this is the world they live in, then they've got to speak about they've got to break the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall, while also have something to say, and then still being a horror movie. That's a mind fuck. Like, this would be such a hard script to write, but the writers fucking nailed it, dude. And it's good, and the kills are good too. If you're a fan of the Scream franchise, like they did justice. They did the franchise right, and it's so fucking rare to see because a lot of these recalls they talk about aren't great. Like Terminator ate a bag of dicks.
It did. Oh god.
Like there's I can mention a bunch of other examples, but Terminator is like such a great example of like it failing at what it's trying to do. Weirdly, the one that's making fun of all of these films, trying to set up a new franchise with younger cast and stuff. This is one of the only ones to do it well.
That's amazing.
My only complaint, but my only complaint is though, it's like, where do you go from here? I don't think you can have a Scream 6, or at least for another 5 years, because what's there to talk about? They've done originals, they did horror movies, they did sequels, they did trilogies, they did reboots, now they've done requels, and even the TV show, even though it sucks, they kind of touched on doing horror as a series. But back then there weren't many series out, so maybe you could try another show again, but I don't know where you can go from here with the Scream franchise. But if this is the last one ever, I'm okay with that because they did good. Also, I don't want to give spoilers, but there was a clip that we did for TikTok, and all I'll say is Zoheb was right. He called it a year ago. He called it, 4 months ago, whenever we recorded it. And there was a moment in the film where they set things up. I'm like, fuck.
He got it.
There's a character, and I literally said to myself, they're Han Soloing him. They're, and if you know what Han Solo happened in The Force Awakens and how that happened, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they did it so well. But hats off to Scream 5. They freaking killed it, man.
That's it. I am going to go and see this immediately. Bye, guys. I'm out.
Yeah. Highly recommend it. I'll shut the fuck up now. Let's talk about a movie that 2.5 of us have seen.
2.5 of us saw.
Copshop is now out on Netflix. Jesse and I saw it. 80 saw like half of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesse, what do you reckon of this film, Matt? You're like right fresh. You just saw this before recording.
Yes, I did. I literally just finished it. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. I to be honest, it took some twists and turns I was not expecting. I felt like it's like one of those very stylish action type films that you often see, but I feel this doesn't follow the normal convention, normal cliche conventions. It does take a few twists and unique turns, which I appreciate, and which is why I thought it was actually decent. I wouldn't say it was fantastic. I wouldn't say it was blown away by it, but I thought it was good. It did some unique things. And yeah, I was interested throughout the whole thing, figure out who was who and stuff like that. And I would say though, and I don't know if you felt like this way, Matt, I did like the fact that it was set in one cop shop. I did like that. It gave me like a very Tarantino / 70s crime film vibes, which I love. I love all that shit. So, by the way, I would say, Matt, and I don't know if you felt this, I felt like Gerard Butler didn't have a lot to do in this movie.
No, and I can't help but think that this movie might have had like some budget to work around, like very creatively.
Yeah.
I feel like they wrote it in a way where it's like, we just need Gerard Butler for like 1 week of shooting.
Yeah. And then he pisses
we
off.
can just cut away to some other characters.
Yeah.
Like he's in the same spot for most of the film, but they find creative ways to cut around him. And I was a little bit disappointed because I came to this for Gerard Butler, like most people did, but the supporting cast wasn't bad. Toby Huss was this one assassin killer guy who was there, and he was really entertaining. When he croaked it. I was a little bit disappointed because
He had some good lines.
Yeah, he had some good lines, and like when you said like the Tarantino vibes, I really felt that with his character a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm also like, oh man, I think the person who like takes the cake, the MVP is Alexis Louder.
Is that the main chick
cop.
or?
Yeah, she was really great, especially towards the end. Apparently her character was really inspired like by Clint Eastwood. Like she's like a
That's so
little
cool.
sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, and I'm sure it's been done before, but I've never seen like a African-American female in that kind of role before. So it actually felt like a bit of fresh air. It felt like a bit different. But I will say, oh man, I did not realize that was Frank Grillo till like much later in the film.
Same.
Like I was like, wasn't Frank Grillo meant to be in this? And I looked at him, I'm like, oh, that's him. Like he disappeared into his role. He had that long hair. I'm not against it. I'm just fucking surprised. It's like I've never seen him try and play someone that wasn't like, you know, the cool guy with the gun.
He kind of kept himself a bit closed. Like he wasn't like, you know, he's trying to avoid being killed by Gerard Butler, and he's kind of kept himself a bit more reserved. And it's really his film. And what's her name? I can't remember the actress's name.
Fucking was it Alexis? I think it was Alexis.
Yeah, it's really their film. I feel like Gerard Butler's just
Valerie Young is her character.
Gerard Butler to me feels like kind of in the background kind of thing. It's really their film. I found for me personally.
And I feel like at the end he like, I don't know. I feel like I would have preferred it if instead of dragging his character out in little bits and pieces, just give him like a couple cool scenes close together and then have him done. Because otherwise it felt like I could feel them like going, he's really expensive, so we got to use him sparingly. Like he had some cool moments, but I really wish that he had a bigger role in this because he just feels underutilized. It's been so long since I've seen Gerard Butler in a lead role where he fucking nails it. And this could have been that movie, but unfortunately he just felt really underutilized. I will say, man, that last shootout scene at the end, I fucking loved it.
It was good.
It's really stylish.
I like the one in the bathroom. Is it in the bathroom they're in or whatever? The three they're in? Yeah, that was good. I like that scene.
Look, it's a very B grade film. It feels like it's trying to do all it can with a smaller. Actually, I want to look up what the budget was, but I feel like they're trying to do a lot with a little.
Yeah.
And by making it a bit of a bottle episode, they did well, but like this movie could have been a lot more.
I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed my time watching it. It was still, I thought, decent, but just not fantastic.
I'll be honest, I was a little bit bored at the start. I feel like it took a while to get it, and I feel like maybe the intro, they did like a lot of day for night scenes, I think.
Yeah.
Like it did look like real nighttime to me. I could be wrong. But like as it went on, it gets better, and it takes a while to start up. Like the first act is a real slow burn. But once it gets going, I thought it was pretty good. Surprisingly, I talked about a friend of mine, and he was like, oh, I actually preferred all the stuff before the shootout. Are you crazy? Like that's the best part of the film for me. Like all that slow motion fire, the sprinklers. Like I kind of wish the film was more like that. But yeah, I can't find the budget. I really wish I could. Adrienne, how far did you get into this?
I can't remember the exact point, but it didn't feel like Gerard had completely like disappeared or been underutilized yet. So that sort of sucks to hear. But I don't mind watching for the other actors because I was very impressed by them, and I feel like they had just as much weight to add as he did. And she was really badass. Like I really liked her straight off the bat.
This chick, Alexis Louder, I'm putting her on my to watch list. I know she was in Watchmen, which I haven't seen, like the TV show Watchmen, which I haven't seen. She was in the Tomorrow War. I don't remember her in that, but I really did like that movie. It looks like she's really on the rise right now, and she's pretty good, man. So I feel like she's someone to look out for.
If there's a good shootout at the end, I'm definitely going to finish it. Because, I'm all about that. I love that action life. Anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also really love the whole element of it being in the one location and everything just escalating from that. I thought that was very cool. I really like those. But I'll have to finish it. I'll just have to finish it.
All good. Jesse, any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, as I said, I thought it was a decent film. Like, not enough to write home about, but yeah, it was just a decent, fun popcorn flick, and took a few unique things that kind of break the popcorn action convention, which I thought worked to its benefit. Just wish it was a bit more Gerard Butler, because he's all over the posters. That's what I don't get. Like, he's all over they splash him all over the posters, but like
the thing is like they treat him like he's a huge draw. But bro, when was the last big film he did? Like, he ain't been shit since 300. Like, what's he done? Law Abiding Citizen. That was like 10 years ago. Okay. Apparently he still does a voice in How to Train Your Dragon. But look, Angel of Fallen, dog shit. Den of Thieves. Angel of Fallen, I swear to God, is one of the worst fucking action movies you'll see. There's like a 30,000 year long racing chase scene where like he's in a truck that goes like 10 k's an hour. It is so goddamn boring.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. If you want to torture someone, force them to watch Angel of Fallen.
What's that climate change one he did? He did like a climate change.
Was it Geostorm?
Yeah, Geostorm.
That's been a how did this get made favorite, where they literally spent 2 hours making fun of it. Den of Thieves was okay, but ever since Gods of Egypt, he's been on a bit of a downhill. Although London Has Fallen was alright. But I'm just looking at his IMDb and I'm just like, dog shit. I haven't seen it.
I love the anger. Like, there's genuine fire in your voice when you talk about it.
It's just, Gerard Butler should have been like a huge star. He should be up there with Vin Diesel and shit. He had the world in his hands. Like, 300 captivated the minds of everyone.
He's Bruce
what
Willis
the
himself.
fuck happened?
What the fuck happened?
Gerard Butler, Bruce Willis himself. That is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, Bruce Willis should still be massive. But oh my god, he does some
fucking garbage. But I think for Bruce Willis, it's all about how much money can you give me, kind of thing.
It is. I don't know if you heard about the story about Expendables 3, but they were like,
yes, I have heard of that story. Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know it, they were like, Bruce Willis, we only need you for 4 days, and he's like, I want $1 million a day. And like Stallone is like, I'm not getting that much. Like, and it's like, I was like, and also, it's also, who the fuck do you think you are? You haven't been that good in ages. And then he's just like, they're like, I want $1 million a day, and I only want to shop for like 4 days. And then he was like, fuck off then. And then he just hired Harrison Ford instead. Yeah. And Harrison Ford was like, I got one request. I want to fly a helicopter. And he's like, dude, and he has a helicopter license. I was like, of course.
Harrison Ford's way better anyway. Who gives a fuck? So.
Yeah, like Harrison Ford over Bruce Willis any day.
Like, what a legend. What an actual legend.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to our final topic for today. We've got Spencer to talk about. Adrian, you've seen this one. A little bit of a change of pace. Please let us know everything you can about Spencer. What do you think?
Spencer. I mean, everybody knows who Princess Diana is, the most famous royal, potentially, of all time. This has still, I think, quite a lot of awards buzz around it. And I think most of the point of casting Kristen Stewart was for some shock factor, because, everyone knows her from Twilight with the famous jittery performing, just horrific acting. And she does cop a lot of flack. There have been a couple of films in between where she's showcased like herself quite strongly, but it's not as often as it should be, considering the scale, I don't know, of her career, like where it's at, I feel. There's actually a guy on TikTok called Brody Wellmaker who has made an entire career out of impersonating her in Twilight. It's phenomenal. But this film follows her over a 3-day period of having to go and spend Christmas with the rest of the royals. And it just, my God, it sort of showcases her like mental health and how heavily declining it was towards the period of time before she died. And it's very art house, and I feel like they tried to evoke some semi-horror and surrealist elements to it. But oh my God, I think after the first viewing, I was like, wow, I really, really do feel sorry for Diana if this interpretation was real to any extent, like how terrifying that's how bad her mental health became. But marinating on it, I feel like, I don't want to use any words that are going to be too mean, but it was a bit of a wank fest. I don't really know what else to say about that. It's just like, oh my God. Okay, the costumes were fucking amazing. One of the most beautifully costumed films I've seen in a long time. They really nailed it. But I feel like the style of the film, just as a whole, even the camera work, a lot of it was unnecessary. It was like, look at me do this different thing now. Look at this extreme close-up. It just, and a lot of the time it didn't help the narrative. And it was just, I don't know, like it was a bit farcical. The score was horrible. I've read a lot of people talk about how it was like I did read one guy on IMDb say he had to physically remove his hearing aids because he couldn't take it anymore. And it was pretty brutal. I did not like it. I didn't feel like it complimented anything at all. It was sort of like,
I need to find this. Holy shit.
It was like the director, Pablo Larraín. Imagine he went into like a Newtown vintage clothing store and was like, this hat's the audio, these shoes are the coloring, and this is the acting. And I don't know. I feel like the actors had they received a real disservice because they're all very talented people, but they didn't have a lot to work with.
Was Kristen Stewart good?
Okay. So Kristen, on the whole, was quite good. But
okay,
I feel like she watched one interview of Diana where she talked like this and was very whispery. And then that's how she spoke for the whole film. Nobody speaks like that the whole time. If you get an interview with someone on a couch with one interviewer on a Sunday afternoon, their voices, she did sometimes have that whispery feeling if you ever see anything with Diana, but she had a normal speaking voice. And it's like she took that 10 seconds and based her entire performance around that. So she felt very, I don't know, she was like a caricature of Diana in my opinion. And it sort of made her seem more childish than, I don't know, a sufferer. Yeah. That's how I sort of saw it. And she really, I don't know, like I'm acting right now. You cannot not see Kristen Stewart in this movie the whole time.
It's very theatrical, very theatre.
Yeah, and I don't know, I feel like, and her famous jitters are still there. Like the Kristen Stewart, that thing, like that's what she does. It's still there, like the whole movie. And I really was so ready and prepared to be like, here comes her career-defining performance. And some people do say it is. But she was very much acting instead of, I feel like, feeling a lot of the time. Sometimes she nailed it. There were some scenes where she has these imaginings where she just absolutely lets loose and caves into her wanting to break down. Those were quite good. But on the whole, it just felt, I don't know, it was a bit odd. And on the whole, the movie was really boring, and it was painfully boring towards the second half. I really had to sit there and put my phone away because the pacing was just really difficult to get through. I wanted to fall in love with it, but I found like it lacked a lot of that heart that it needed to convey, you know, that sort of the sympathy that the whole world had for her when, you know, she was famous for being, you know, smart, gutsy, loving her children, but they really made her look like a crazy, immature child who had no grip, whereas in real life she was like a fuck the patriarchy kind of girl. So I don't know, I feel like fans of her probably should be a bit disappointed.
So you're saying Will and Harry will not be lining up to see this?
I don't know.
Soon.
Yeah, I hope they don't. If they did, yikes. I feel really. I would love to know what they would think of this because my God,
they'd probably hate it. I think because they hate anything the media does in relation to Diana, because obviously it's their mother. So
well, I can fuck off and go back to their island. Nah. Okay, guys. You guys. I found the review that Adrian
You
was talking
did?
about.
Okay, yes.
I did. I have to read this out. Okay. 1 star. I had to leave the cinema as I couldn't stand the score. I put my hands over my ears and took my hearing aids off, but nothing worked. When it got to the scene where she imagines herself back home, I'd left the cinema. I'd had enough. The film dragged on interminably, which I don't know if that's even a real word, but okay. The film dragged on interminably. Poor acting, camera movement for the sake of it, and fussy direction.
There you go.
1 star.
Look, there are a ton of people I feel like, in some ways, yeah, sure. I can see this artsy take on her decline or whatever mentally, but for the most part, I feel like they've really had to say in the beginning, and they do, like in writing, about how this is a work of a fictional imagining, whatever, but I don't know. The more the time goes on, I'm seeing why she hasn't been getting as many nominations as people were expecting. It's not her peak. I don't think it's her peak. I think that someone else could have done a better job. Even the girl who played Diana in The Crown in the previous season, who is actually also British and would have just, I think, growing up had a bit more to grasp playing her and bringing to the character. But
so you say she's just not the right part. She's like Kristen Stewart. She's like a good actress, but just not the right part for this.
She did all right, but I don't think.
Well, she's not calling her a good actress.
Okay, well, so she's just not the right part for this.
She put it this way: she should have shattered me, and a lot of things that happened to her in the film should break you, but they didn't. I felt like it was when you go to the Museum of Contemporary Art in Sydney, this would be playing on the TV in silence, like one of those sort of things.
If I can play devil's advocate for a little bit,
go for it.
I would say that the entire blame shouldn't just go to her.
It
should also go to the director.
Yeah.
It should also go to the director.
100%.
Because the director should have picked up on these things. He should have sat with, he shouldn't just go, hey, watch one interview. No. He'd be like, hey, notice this scene in this interview where she does this? Or
yes,
see that?
Yes.
Like they should be working together as collaborators to develop the character together and the performance. It should be a team effort. So
I have a bit of
it's not just a failure on her part, it's a failure on his part too.
No. You're absolutely right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I actually have a feeling, based on some interviews I read, that the director had a bit of Kristen bias, and I think that it was going to be her regardless. And even after filming, they let her take every costume home because they belonged to her. Like, it was very much this is a film to showcase herself. So I don't know if he's like a super fan or something, but maybe that got in the way a bit. Look, not horrendous, but it certainly was not. It's not. I don't think it's particularly worthy of the intense praise that it has received. Like, I do feel quite let down, and the director, I don't know. It felt like he was serving himself more than the story and more than Diana.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I just looked him up. Pablo Larraín. He also did not that long ago Jackie with Natalie Portman, which is a true story about the First Lady that was married to John F. Kennedy.
Yes.
So it seems like he's got a little bit of
He's got a thing going there, like a theme.
Yeah, he likes true stories about women in
political
high
positions.
Places.
Yeah,
political sort of thing.
Jackie was great. Jackie was great, and that's why my hopes were high. So,
like, if I'm not mistaken, like, I never saw it, but I'm pretty sure Jackie got a lot of award buzz.
It did.
Oh, here we go. Nominated for 3 Oscars. Here we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah, he honestly like nailed it, and even though the pacing was a bit slower in that as well, it was nothing to phase you, and it didn't detract from anything. Like everything was in there for a reason, and Natalie absolutely obliterated it. But I don't know, felt like he just went a bit too artsy with this one and avoided what was at its core emotionally.
Cool. Well, that sounds like that's it for us today at upcoming attractions, and I can words good with my mouth hole. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
He's getting better every week, guys. He's getting better every week.
I'm getting there. I think I've been drinking too much. I'm not gonna lie.
Mate, you've had like 1 beer.
That's a lot for me. No, it's a lot for a lot.
You're becoming Adrienne.
Look. Look, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we love you and we love your support. And if you're enjoying the show, let us know in the comments on any social media you're at. We appreciate it. Be sure to check out the TikToks and the Instagram Reels for the latest highlights. Be sure to check our YouTube to watch our pretty faces. And be sure to listen to us on Spotify and iTunes. A 5-star review does go a long way and does help support the show. And we appreciate your love and support. So thank you. Mwah.
Thanks, guys.
That's a big kiss from me.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We'll catch you next time. I'm Matt. That's Jesse and 80. Laters.